Hey, what's going on, everyone? For all those who may not know who I am Reverend J, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Let's Talk About It with Reverend J and Joy. Um, but before we begin, excuse me, today we're going to be talking about how to have a better sleep experience. But before we begin, I want to introduce to you our special guest on tonight is Callie Patrick.
Hi,
Hey,
thank
Callie,
you
what's
so
going on?
much. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
That's great. Before I give her time to uh, give her a little bit information about herself, I want to let you know how we met. We were both on a platform called Alignable, and on Alignable, they have virtual networking events. And on events, you can do like little breakout rooms, and in those breakout rooms, you get to network with people from all around the world for about 6 minutes, I think it is, and then you go in back to the larger room and go into another breakout room. So during our 6 minute of talking, she shared about what she did. And I said, you know what? I need to have you on my show because I know a lot of people that can use tips from you on how to help them have a better sleep experience. So Kelly, if you can just give our audience a brief information about what you do and your experience.
Sure. So my practice is called Callie Patrick Coaching after my name. I am a nationally board certified health and wellness coach. I'm a certified sleep science coach and a therapeutically trained yoga and meditation teacher. So I bring all those components together when I coach adults to help them sleep. And I personally struggled with my sleep for about 20 years.
Oh wow.
And in 2010, I experienced burnout, which I know has become much more common these days. And that's inspired me to start my practice. And now my focus is to help stressed out, busy adults reclaim their natural ability to sleep and their energy and motivation to do all the things that they'd much rather be doing than thinking about and worrying about how to get some sleep.
So I want to first start talking about my issue with sleeping. I don't think I have one, but let's talk about it. Maybe I do. I don't know. You're a professional, so maybe you may let me know. So my issue is this: if I go to bed before 10 o'clock, I'll be up at around 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. Walking downstairs, getting some snack on, come back up the stairs and and watch a movie until about 3 or 4 o'clock. About 4 o'clock.
It's been a full day.
I know, right? But if I go to sleep at 11 o'clock, I can sleep right throughout the night. Anytime after 11, I can sleep throughout the night. Now I get up around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, but still.
Yes.
So what is that an issue or is that normal?
Well, it is. So, first of all, people want to know, is it an issue, right? And you started to say, I don't know if I have a sleep problem, right? It's a problem when it impacts how you are experiencing your life, right? If you
Mm,
wake up and you're feeling very groggy, if you're finding that you're having trouble focusing, you're falling asleep during the daytime, right? You're using a lot of stimulants to keep yourself awake and just generally feeling like that interruption in your sleep is affecting your daytime and your life, then yes, you have a problem, right?
mm,
If you know about yourself that, well, my optimal time to go to sleep is 11 o'clock, right? My optimal time to wake up is this, later or whatever time in the morning, and you feel fine, right? You're getting enough sleep in terms of the duration, right? The number of hours you're getting, which for most adults is between 7 to 9 hours. I'm not sure quite that that's there for you, but if that is all true, then there is no problem. Now, I know from speaking with you earlier that you talked about napping a little bit, and so that is counting toward your sleep time
okay.
essentially. If you're doing that during the day, what you're doing is taking a chunk of your nighttime and putting it in the day.
Oh,
There is there is something they call sleep drive,
Uh-huh.
which is it's a chemical reaction that happens in your body, and it works along with circadian rhythm, which we hear about all the time, right? And you can think of sleep drive as something that builds up the longer you're awake, it continues to build. And
Oh,
eventually you get tired enough that you fall asleep. But
oh
when
wow.
you nap, you take a little bit off that sleep drive, right?
Oh,
So, right, as I said to you earlier, if you were to take those naps out,
oh,
I bet
nah.
you, you would go to, I would bet you would, your sleep time would start earlier and you would sleep through, a more typical night. So, it's about the choices we make. It's about being intentional. And it's about obviously dealing with the circumstances and the situations that our life requires, right? If work demands that we be awake at a certain time, then we have to work around that. And the system
Mm.
and the schedules have to be practical.
Yeah, I can never take away my naps because that's the best sleep I ever get. I'm telling you. I mean, that hour and a half an hour. I mean, I think last night was the last night on Wednesday night. I came home for like half an hour to a little power nap. Oh God, it felt like I was asleep for like 3 hours.
And the time, the naps are interesting because we can use them strategically, right? The time, the length of the nap matters.
Hmm.
The time of day that you take the nap matters. The regularity with which you take the nap matters.
Hmm.
Right? So it's just like with children, right? If they're used to napping at some point, right? That's their routine, that's their
Yeah,
rhythm,
yeah.
and get into that. And it's good, it's useful, right? But if it's sort of a random thing and it's on occasion, I see a lot of people right now using naps as a way to alleviate boredom. Right? There's nothing, oh, well, I'm not excited about anything. I don't know what to do with myself, right? So I take a nap and
Let's
then
take a
they're
nap.
up at night. And, there's that connection between what happens in the day and what happens at night. So again, if there's a problem with sleep and there are naps happening, then we have to look at that and say, okay, well, what's the correlation? You seem perfectly happy with your schedule and your energy and all that. So then fine, no problem. It works for you. But the people I work with have some significant trouble
Oh,
with
okay,
it.
okay. Yeah, because like again, if for like today I was very busy all day, so I didn't need to take a nap. Um, but if I wasn't busy, like if I'm in my office all day, I'm like around 3 o'clock. I said, let me take a nap.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
And that late time, I mean, 3 o'clock is pretty late for a nap,
yeah,
right? So that will probably impact your nighttime sleep, and it will wake you. So
but yeah, I'll be good though, because again, the challenge I have like an hour and a half drive from my office to my home.
mhm,
Because my business is up in like North Jersey. I'm in South Jersey. So,
mhm.
if I take that nap at 3 o'clock, I'd be good. Because I'm like, that'd be nice. I'd be nice and recharged for the ride home.
And that's very important because you don't want to be driving when you are tired.
Yeah.
They've actually done studies that have shown that people who are sleep deprived and when they get behind the wheel of a car, they are cognitively impaired to the point that they might as well be intoxicated.
Oh wow.
So it is just like driving drunk when you
Yeah.
are consistently sleep deprived, and that's a scary thing, right? Because we know, okay, well, we shouldn't drive when we've had alcohol, but we get behind the wheel of a car all the time, and oh yeah, I'm tired, but that is quite dangerous.
Yeah. I think the challenge because I used to be in the military. So, like I shared with you earlier. And again, they give you a routine where you go through sleep deprivation because at times you have to be willing to push through being tired and stay up
Mm-hmm.
for a good amount of hours. So I think that still is grinding me and some part of me of being able to have only a little bit amount of sleep per day, but still be able to function. Like again, because like I'll go sleep at 12 o'clock, get up at 5, not a problem, not a problem. You know,
Well,
um,
it's not a problem short term, right? You might
yeah,
not be feeling effects of it short term, but there
okay,
are there are lots of long-term health implications of what we call short sleep, which is around, between 4 to 6 hours is what's
Okay.
considered short sleep. And so while you might not be feeling the effects of that right now, it pretty much doubles your risk of all the chronic diseases that are out there right now. So
Oh, wow.
heart disease, stroke, obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, and like I said, it's potentially just dangerous in terms of, the cognitive aspect of it, the impairment. They're
Mhm.
also showing now that people in middle age who aren't getting the recommended amount of sleep, there's a causation or a relationship between that and developing dementia and Alzheimer's in later life,
Oh,
because
wow.
what happens to the brain during sleep is it's cleansed of these proteins
Yeah.
that if that doesn't happen, those build up in the brain, and then we see dementia happening later. So, we have to look at, well, how do we feel short term, and what is the science saying about the long-term implications of our behaviors now? So sleep deprivation, might be necessary in obviously a significant training like you've experienced, but for most
Yeah.
people, it's not something you want to continue, right? There's
Mm.
a reason why it was outlawed as torture,
Oh, wow.
right?
I didn't know that.
It is so it is so significantly damaging to the human system to be
Oh,
sleep
wow.
deprived long term. So,
Well, I better change I guess I need to change my sleeping habits.
well, maybe people change when they want to change, and
Yeah.
there has to be a motivator for that, right? So, for example, many of my clients, if they do have a parent or someone who they see dealing with Alzheimer's, they say, wow, I want to do everything possible to prevent that for myself so that my
Yeah.
children don't have to go through that and I don't have to experience that. I mean, not to say that it's, 100%, but you do what you can to stay as healthy and sharp as long as possible. If that's the motivation, then that helps you make different choices during the day, because there's always things that are going to pull you, and, sounds like you're interested in doing a lot of things. You're very busy. I see this a lot, right? Oh, but if either I sleep or I do this fun thing that I want to do,
Hmm.
right? So the motivation to prioritize sleep has to be there for changes to happen. And
Oh,
that's,
yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
yeah. Well, again, I think, me personally, I'm always about health and try to prolong being active. So I guess I had to work on that, somehow, I don't.
Right. So yes, and that's interesting. So that's part of what I do as a coach, right? If people say, well, I think I want to make some changes, or I have a problem, right? I'm not waking refreshed. I'm having trouble falling asleep. I'm having trouble staying asleep. I'm waking up at 3 a.m. and my mind is going buzz, 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 right? How do I shut it up? How do I get myself back to sleep? Because I'm not functioning, right? I'm exhausted all day. And then
Yeah.
you go out there and you Google for sleep, and there's a million things you can do. And a lot of it are, let's buy this magic pill, right? Let's take this gummy. Let's try some melatonin, right? And then people have this toolbox of things that they're sort of
Medicating.
using. And then there are these massive cocktails. The people I see, sometimes they're taking these massive cocktails of things
Mm.
to regulate their energy. Like, let's wake me up during the day, let's put me down at night. And they're artificially maintaining that, and it's not working. And then they look at it and they go, well, I don't actually know what's helping me or not, because
Yeah.
I have too many things in the pile. So it can get complicated. And so as a coach, my job is to help people look at what they're doing, really see what's happening, inform them when they need to be informed about like some of the issues of not sleeping well, and help them figure out what's the smallest change I can make, that I will make,
Yeah.
that is going to have an impact on my sleep and my energy and my life.
Yeah. See, I don't use anything to wake myself up. I don't drink coffee. I make drinks. I drink about one soda a day. That's with lunch, and a soda at dinner time. Other than that, I I don't take anything to go to sleep. I'm tired enough by the time I do go to sleep.
Mhm. Yeah, great.
Is that I'm like, for example, I'm not doing anything tomorrow, so I'll go to sleep probably around 11, 12 o'clock tonight, and I'll probably get up around 6 o'clock in the morning, probably. So
Mhm.
but I'm gotta make some changes so live longer.
Yes.
So let's talk about this other issue. Like again, I always hear people on Facebook around 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not because I'm always up, but because they make the post, then wake up in the morning. Oh, they said, oh, somebody said, oh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning while I'm still up. What is that an issue? And
Oh, it's a huge issue.
and what can I guess question is, what can our person do to work on that, or get help have a better sleep experience where they're not up all night?
Yes. So the 2 to 4 a.m. window, right? Usually I use it around 3 a.m., right? That, people wake up. They might wake up naturally around that time. The way sleep cycles work is we go through different stages of sleep every 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Okay.
So light sleep, deep REM or deep non-REM, and then REM, and then we come back up into light. So as you come up into light sleep, you might wake up. And it's really nothing to be concerned about. A lot of people are concerned, well, I woke up during the night. I want to have this night of sleep where I don't wake up at all. And to some extent, that's an ideal that's unachievable. It might happen sometimes, but it's completely normal to wake up at some point. You hear a noise, you're in that light stage of sleep, you wake up. What matters is what you do when that happens, right? Sure, get up, go to the bathroom, come back to bed, whatever. But what happens is people are, oh, I'm up. Let me grab my phone. Let me post on Facebook. Or the mind chatter starts to come into the picture. Well, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm up. I need to fall asleep now because what time is it? Okay, if I get to sleep now, then I'm going to get another couple hours before I have to be up, right? The mental calculations start happening. The math starts happening of how many hours of sleep am I going to get? The predictions of what the next day is like if I don't fall asleep right now start to happen. And then what happens is that not only is the body awake, but now the mind's awake. And that reinforces the pattern of being awake. And it can create something we refer to as sleep anxiety, which is now people start to get nervous or expectant that they're going to have a problem before they even get into bed. And that is the way that a problem that is a 1 or 2 nights of, hey, I had a stressful day or I had a busy day and I had some trouble sleeping. That's how that becomes month-long, year-long, years-long problems for people, is just that level of, angst. And, the trackers don't help with that, right? You look at your watch and it tells you didn't sleep well. And it's like, oh my gosh, right? So now I've got to worry that my device didn't tell me that I slept well. So that's a big problem. And that's what happens when you're waking at 3 a.m., right? Now, why are you waking in the first place?
That's the question.
The main cause of that right now that I see is that, we have nervous systems as human beings that are supposed to sort of flip back and forth between being alert and awake and being rested and relaxed, right? So ideally, we kind of flip back and forth between these, we call it sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. That's a well-balanced person, right? You need to be alert and awake. You also need to learn or need to be, as a human being, rested and calm. But as you say, we go, 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 go all day. And what happens is our system is in that high gear. We're in that stress response, right? We're in that sympathetic hyperdrive all day. And then we crawl into bed and think, well, I shut that off, right? And we're not light switches. We don't work like that, right? We essentially have, what we've done is we've trained ourselves to be highly stimulated, and we don't take away some of that stimulation before bed, right? The bedtime routines are great. Don't get me wrong. We need,
Mhm.
it's useful to have those, people talk about unwinding before bed. I'm like, how are we wound in the first place, right? That's what we need to look at, right? The ideal is to not be so wound before bed, because sometimes no amount of that bedtime routine, no amount of unwinding really undoes what we've contributed during the day. It's like saying, well,
Mm.
I've eaten nothing but Big Macs and fries for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks in between, and I'm going to do a mile walk around the block and think that's enough.
Mhm, mhm.
That's not, it doesn't work that way. So
Ooh.
a lot of what I do is to help people really restore rest. And I mean physical rest, mental rest, emotional rest, right? Rest on all the different levels that our human system needs to just recover from a basic day, right? But now there's bad news, there's information, so much information coming in, there's stimulation from the devices and the lights that we're getting,
Mhm,
right? You'll
mhm.
notice I'm wearing my very fashionable blue light blocking glasses because I am on a screen with lots of light and I would like to sleep well tonight. So by 6, 7 o'clock, these puppies go on,
Oh, okay.
and that's just what I do. So, and what the part of the reason for that is also that the light suppresses melatonin, which is made naturally in your brain.
Okay.
So here we are being really stimulated with all these lights, and then we go and we buy a melatonin supplement. Your body makes this.
Mm.
It makes it way better than you can ever buy in a bottle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, we have to start looking at, well, what are we doing that's contributing to us being hyper and stimulated? And we can fall asleep sometimes because we're just exhausted, but that stimulation doesn't just disappear. It's still buzzing around there. So when you start to enter that light stage of sleep and a noise, the urge to go to the bathroom, whatever pops you awake, then all that energy is still coming at you.
Yeah, yeah.
So my question always to people who wake up at 3 a.m. is, what are you doing at 3 p.m.?
Oh.
Right? So if we look at it and say, if I wake up at 3 a.m. and I say to myself, oh, how am I ever going to get through the day tomorrow? Right? That's a very common thing, right? I'm up at 3 a.m. How am I ever going to get through tomorrow? Well, at 3 p.m., do you ever stop and say, how am I ever going to get to sleep tonight?
Oh.
But
Okay.
these sides of the day and the night, they go together.
Oh. I didn't know that.
So we have to be paying attention. If there's problems at night, 95% of the time, the root cause is in the daytime.
Mm. Okay. Oh, wow. So one of the keys is to probably guess. I would assume watch your thoughts.
So say again.
One of the things a person can do is watch their thoughts, like watch what they're thinking about. I guess watch what they're stressing about.
Sure, and certainly watching. First of all, watching how much stimulation is coming into the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
The body, the mind. I once had a gentleman I coached who was reading a book before bed, a real book, no
Uh-huh.
light, no device, nothing. And he's like, I can't get to sleep. I said, what are you reading? Well, I'm reading about World War II.
Oh.
I love history. It's really interesting. Guess what? That's stimulating to him.
Well, no.
So it was keeping him awake. It's the content, it's the medium, it's all the things that we're putting into our bodies. It's the foods, it's the drinks, it's all of that. There are a lot of moving parts. So taking a step back, right, and saying, how much stimulation am I letting come into my system during the day is thing one. And then when and if you wake up at 3 in the morning, how are you talking to yourself? Are you talking to yourself as if your child came into your bedroom and said, I'm having trouble sleeping? Or are you beating yourself up?
Not me.
And yeah, I mean, a lot of
I go
people do.
downstairs.
I have
Give me some.
clients who've been cursing themselves at
Yeah,
3 in the morning because they're not sleeping. They're so upset and they're beating themselves up, and that doesn't help.
I go downstairs, give me some milk and cookies, come back up.
Well, blood sugar does play a role in it too,
and,
right?
and I go right to sleep.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that you don't have a problem, but if folks out there listening do have problems, I think these are interesting things to start to notice about
Oh
yourself
yeah,
and your life and pay attention to. And they're not the pills. They're not the let me buy this blanket or this pillow. They're not the quick fixes, because those things are often just band-aids. They're not the thing. They're things that sell. Sleep aids are a $30 billion industry.
oh
So
yeah, no doubt.
we can keep buying stuff, but for people who want to resolve their problem and have a permanent solution that is natural and real and that adapts and changes with their life, then there's some other work to be done there.
Well, you know what? Go back to what you were talking about with a guy who was reading a book that he likes. I purposely, I watch TV before I go to bed, but I purposely turn on movies that I'm not gonna watch. Like I'm like if I choose a movie, I'm not gonna rent one. I'm definitely not gonna rent one because I'll be up all night. So I'll turn on something I know that I've probably seen already. I don't need to pay attention to it. I just want it on just to be I guess buy some time so I can go to sleep. But none I need to pay attention to so I can go to sleep. I know if I put something on that I like probably like Lord of the Rings or Gladiator, I'll be a fool and just watch the whole movie.
Yes, and that's a great example, right? So it's something that you're familiar with. Movies
Yeah,
that we have seen over and over again that are comfort movies, right? They're just things that we know, we can recite the words to,
yeah,
and that's cool. But if you have to pay attention to a brand new movie, if the movie is violent, if it
yeah.
contains a lot of moving parts, then your attention is being pulled, the stimulation is being increased. And again, it's not a problem. It's not to say we can never watch a new movie or do anything fun, but we have to watch the quantity and where it's coming from. When it's coming
Yeah.
from all the sources at once and there's a problem with sleep, then the cup has overflowed and something needs to change.
That's good stuff. Pretty interesting stuff when it comes to I guess the science of sleeping. You know, all the things that can affect a person by not being able to go to sleep and cause them to wake up in the morning. And I'm again, I have a degree in psychology and counseling, so I'm well aware of the subconscious part of it, of self-talk. A person, oh, I can't sleep tonight. While I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't do that. I just wake up and go get some grapes or some cookies and go back to bed. So, but that's awesome.
Yes,
That's awesome.
you're right. There's a physiological component and there's a psychological component, and that's what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, they go together. To resolve a problem, both need to be addressed.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for your information. Like even for myself, I'm going to work on getting more sleep during the day because I need to keep my mind active and prevent what do you call it, amnesia or
the Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to do all I can to prevent that. As I get older.
Yes, and it sounds like you were not aware that there were all these longer term implications of not getting enough sleep because you're feeling fine in your day to day. So, for someone like you, it might be interesting to go just, spend 10 minutes and Google, what are some of the health impacts of sleep deprivation? Because that awareness.
Yeah.
Sometimes knowing, oh, I didn't realize this, right? I didn't realize the light actually suppressed melatonin. I didn't realize I could make it myself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just the knowledge and the education around it can make it much easier to make lifestyle changes. because it's otherwise it's like, well, why bother? Why should I do this, right? We need to have some motivation for it. And if you don't know all the wonderful things that sleep does for your body, your mind, your body, both short term and long term, or the dangers, some people respond more to, oh, I don't want to have a car accident. Other people want to say, hey, I want to feel more motivated and more focused and more energized and all that. And so depending on the person, knowing these things can be interesting. So there's a ton of information on my blog about sleep.
So before we wrap it up, just basically look back to me real quick. So me getting probably a good amount of sleep I should be getting then? Like if I go to bed at 12.
For adults, 7 to 9 hours is recommended. Now there's some wiggle room in there, right? So you might, if you're getting 6, let's say you're getting 6, 5, right?
Taking that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that it counts.
Well, you want to increase the duration a little bit at a time. So the thing is, if you're getting 5 hours of sleep now, you're not going to say, well, I'm going to now get 8 hours of sleep.
Oh, no, that's not happening.
That goal is not achievable. So how can you get 15 minutes more? That's the question. How do you get 15 minutes more?
Hire more drivers.
Well, I'll bet there's something that's taking 15 minutes of your time.
No. No, because again, like when I get home from work, I still have work to do. So most of the time, but again, I'm not tired yet. So I know if I go to bed, I'm not gonna go in bed. I'm not gonna go to bed. So I'm like, I'm out step and do some work while I'm still up. Again, I get up early because one, I don't have a business, and I don't have enough drivers yet to say, oh, I'll like I'll give you an example. I think a couple of weeks ago, I had a good amount of drivers. So I wasn't waking up to about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, which is long for me. Because normally I'm up at 5, 6 o'clock. So but it felt good. That's my goal. My goal is to get to the point where I don't have to wake up. I can wake up when I want to wake up. And that's alarm clock.
If you have a business where being up, right, and people have jobs, right, where they have to be up and they have to be somewhere at a particular time, then it's usually easier to change the bedtime than it is to change the morning time.
The wake up time.
Although I will say that some people are successful in setting a consistent wake up time, and that includes weekends, right? There's no sleeping in, right? Because again, this is a rhythm. It is a routine that your body gets used to. So if you say, well, I get up at 6 a.m. on weekdays because I have work, but I get up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever it is on the weekend because I'm catching up, which doesn't work, by the way. It disrupts the rhythm. It disrupts the pattern. So some people find it more effective to say, okay, here's my wake up time. And despite how well I slept at night, I'm still going to make myself get out of bed at this time.
Yeah.
Because then what happens is that sleep drive builds throughout the day. By the time bedtime comes around the following night, you should be more tired. So then maybe it's easier to move the bedtime earlier because you feel that tiredness naturally. The goal is to really sync your body with nature.
Okay.
When does the sun come up? That is when we are designed to rise.
Yeah.
So how we get there, right? First, the biggest thing is it has to be incremental. So again, you can't go from 5 hours to this goal of I'm getting 8 hours. That's this. It's crazy. You'll never do it. So 15-minute increments at most. And well, where do you get that 15 minutes? So it's playing on Facebook. It's watching the movie. It's right. And again, the motivation has to be there to make that change. It has to be more important to say, I need to fix my sleep for whatever reason than the short term of watching whatever it is or playing whatever game or doing whatever. So, so yes, but fixing the morning time can often help you set the nighttime earlier, and naps, as we talked about earlier as well. This is all very experimental, right? When we're coaching, we're never saying you have to do anything. Like, the point is, create an experiment for yourself and get curious about the results.
Okay.
Right? So if you say, well, she mentioned naps a couple times, and I'm not saying you have to do this, right? It's just an example, right? It's okay, well, she mentioned this, and I know I can't go to bed before 11 or 12 o'clock, right? You take out a nap for a week or two and see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But you don't know if you keep doing the same thing.
That is right.
So you see how your system adapts to the change. You feel that, oh, maybe I feel more mentally clear, or I feel more awake in the morning when I have to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, or no, I feel no difference. Okay, well, we did one little experiment. It cost you a week to try, and you have some information about your body and what works for you. And we do those one thing at a time.
Awesome.
Because again, a lot of things can contribute. You can't do everything at once. You got to know, like a scientist, you got to know, did this have an effect?
Oh, great. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna try it out, see if I can work on my sleep patterns and see if I can get better earlier and stay asleep. So I'm gonna work on it.
All right.
Well, Callie, I want to thank you for coming on my show. Let's talk about it. Very informative. How can people reach you if they want to talk to me more about their sleep and behaviors or patterns?
Yes, so people can go to my website, calliesleepcoach.com, and there they'll find all sorts of sleep help, including one-on-one coaching. I have a 6-week Sleep Academy online course, so it's a course that people can take on their own, and that's based on my one-on-one coaching that I do with people. There's lots of free stuff, downloadables, and all that, and I'd be happy to talk to anyone who needs help.
Awesome. Also, if you go to the YouTube channel on the show here, all her links will be in the description box. So you can go right there, click on it, and you can reach out to her. And she can help you help you have a better sleep experience. Well, Callie, once again, thank you for coming on the show. I'm grateful for all the information. I'm sure that somebody from my audience will be able to grab what you shared and apply it, and hopefully make some changes in their life. Great.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
No problem. It was definitely. Well, once again, everyone, for all those who may not know who I am, I'm Reverend J, and this was Let's Talk About It, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you.